Morning City Church, I'm reading to you from Romans chapter 12 verse 1. Therefore I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. This verse helps us to answer the question, what does God want from us? God wants our whole lives. Paul uses the word bodies here. He uses the word bodies because it's so much more than just our minds. It's so much more than just good doctrine. He wants all of our lives. But he also wants our whole lives willingly given. Paul uses the word sacrifice here. In the Old Testament, a sacrifice was given as an example that God owned everything. So you give him a sheep to say that, Lord, you own all of my flock. We gave him a tenth of our money as a tithe to say, Lord, you own all of our finances. And here we are willingly giving the Lord our lives to say, Lord, you own everything. And we want to join in this journey with you, serving and following you. But God also wants us to willingly give our whole lives as we delight in God. There's that phrase, spiritual worship. This verse is talking about so much more than just singing songs on a Sunday. All of our lives are to end with an enjoyment of God, and our delight is an act of devotion on the altar of worship. Now, if the question, what does God want from us, is all of our lives willingly given as we delight in God, what does this look like in the middle of a lockdown? It looks like us being holy and pleasing. That means that we change from the inside out as we trust God. We have a change in our thoughts. We have a change in our financial priorities and our giving. We have a change in our emotions, and we have a change in our ambition. Real, genuine change that is achieved by God. This change comes from God. Remember what happens in Romans 1 to 11. Chapter 3, we're all sinners. Chapter 4, God is the one who makes us righteous. It is not just our work in us changing. It is empowered and perfected by Christ. God has made a project of us. He's made us in his image. But God perfects that project through Jesus Christ. He makes our actions acceptable through Christ. That means that today, as you might be frustrated in the middle of a lockdown and struggling to pray, begrudgingly forgiving, just struggling to be gracious and kind to the people who are under the same roof as you as they are doing your head in, know that God makes your imperfect efforts good, acceptable, and pleasing in Jesus. And that gives us such great meaning to everything that we do today. Go engage with God. Go love. Be forgiving. Be kind. Not because you just have to do that, but because God perfects it. And so every little thing we do has meaning. Take care, church.